Alright guys, today we're talking Clan Boss. More specifically, we're talking about a unique build, which I'm going to go as far as saying, which is potentially a new kind of meta. We're using Unkillable, but we are combining other strategies onto one build to reach a 1-key Ultra Nightmare on all the affinities to a 1-to-1 ratio. So I think it's pretty amazing. So what we're going to do, we're going to cover these champions, we're going to cover the build itself, we're going to go through a full run. But before we get to that point, I have about 5 minutes for you guys of an interview with the player who built this on his account. It's not exactly his build, but still you guys are going to learn a lot about how this works. So I would strongly suggest you listen to that part and then we'll do all the rest. All that said, let's jump right into this build.
That clan boss run was done in under 20 minutes. My Bad Eater team takes 25 minutes.
Okay, so it's even faster.
Because you're not going 2-to-1. You're actually, that one has a martyr, so you have the counterattacks where you're getting some, but you're not going the full 2-to-1, and you don't have the seeker animation that is slowing it down. You know, there are a lot of animations in the Bad Eater comp that slow it down as well. But yeah, it's about a 25-minute run versus 17-minute run. Just actual real-time, raw time that I have to let that run to let it complete.
Wow. Well, that's really interesting. So right now I'm even looking at your result on the clan boss. You're now first with those 2 keys. And so like you said earlier, this is basically now your best option. It's faster. You will also sort of like out damage on most keys. You only have to fix for the magic affinity, where of course Martyr and Farrakhan here, the Fat, will be at a disadvantage. But overall, this really seems like a good step up. So really impressed at what you were able to do here.
Oh, gear check on the Bad Eater comp is 10 times harder to be able to, if you want to run the true 2-to-1, because you have to have a Man Eater up in the 260s and still try to get 100% crit and still try to push crit damage and still try to push attack out of it. It becomes very difficult on that one. Your main damage dealer in Draco at 212 is not that hard to hit when you get to in-game gear, but it can be hard to hit it in Relentless if you're not winning a ton of tournaments.
Yeah.
And Relentless is how you really push the damage up on that one. So, you know, that's the other thing with this comp is getting Farouk in reflex gear, and hopefully from the 3v3 Bazaar getting some. I don't have any Barbarian refresh jewelry at all. Like at this point, I will sacrifice damage for refresh jewelry, because if I can get even just say 3 times out of a 50 turn run, if it resets the cooldown on his A3 and he gets to go back-to-back A3s, that is so much more damage than what a little bit of attack on him is going to bring.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's the next thing that I really want to work for with him to maximize him, is get him in a reflex set, yeah, and with refresh jewelry, so that he is having the most opportunity to knock those cooldowns down and send it. You can't take multiple turns with him, because then he's going to lose the unkillable.
Yeah.
So the next best thing is to eliminate the cooldowns.
Sure. So then at this point, you're saying there's a lot of room for improvement in a sense. And at some point, you're going to probably reach a much higher score. So where do you think you would cap with this? Of course, it's, you know, dependent on RNG, but like, where do you think you can get with this build?
I think if I can get him into the reflex and refresh sets, and then get everybody up to 100% crit and get their crit damage pushed up to around 250, and still have, you know, the Man Eaters, I want to have about 3,000 attack on Turvold, 6,000 attack, and Martyr a minimum of 5,000 defense with 250 crit damage and 100% crit rate, and then hit their speeds and of course the accuracy on the ones that need them. I can see on a force affinity hitting 90 to 100 million.
Wow.
Because you're going to have both Martyr and Farouk are going to be positive affinity on that. They're going to actually hit harder when they do hit, and Martyr already hits extremely hard.
Yeah, she does.
So yeah, I can definitely see see pushing between 90 and 100.
Wow. So then last question before I let you go, what would you call this build right now? If you had to give it a name, what would you call it?
You know, I mean, I don't really feel like I should name it because I can't take the credit for this build. It was ENK is the one that came up with it.
Okay.
And he did all the work to come up with it. He didn't have a martyr to put into his. So he's hitting 1 keys without having a martyr. So for me, I call it the ENK build, because I feel like the person that comes up with it deserves the credit for it.
So there you have it, guys. That's his rundown of this team and how it works. So let's quickly go over the gear yet again and maybe the skills to show you guys that they are all done. The masteries for Torvald right there. Here are the total stats. Then we had the 2 man-eaters. I think we just did 1, but just in case, all the skills are done here as well. Masteries done there as well. And then one of them, or the slowest one, is in a toxic set. So that's a way to add a little bit more damage, because Farrakhan the Fat by himself will not necessarily be able to fill up the debuff bar. A toxic set is the little extra you might need to get that done. So here are the stats on this one. The other one here is at 218 speed, so a 2 speed difference. Then we've got Farrakhan the Fat, same thing here. All the skills are done on this champion. Here are the masteries, and then we've got the martyr, which I skipped right here. Here are the masteries, sorry, and then we have all the skills right there and the gear on this champion total stats. All right, so again, room for improvement. He is even not done with the glyphs, so at some point this will be even a little bit better. And in case you guys are wondering, this works, yes, for Ultra Nightmare, it works for Nightmare. It's basically a 1 key across the board, and Farrakhan the Fat is perhaps not the only champion you could use for this. Maybe Longbeard would be slightly better, although you would be losing some important debuffs, right? Even though you have decreased defense on Martyr, this guy also brings decreased defense, so perhaps between both of them you have a better chance at keeping the decreased defense up, but then you would lose your HP burn and your poison. And then again, we're comparing an epic to legendary champions, sort of like Longbeard, Krila, Witch Arm, and Lanicus the Chosen, which by the way are all magic champions. So Farrakhan here is the only spirit allies join attack in that sense, and he made all of this possible for this player on this account. So now let's go over the breakdown of this run and how it works, which, as you can imagine, does require some setting up. So I will do my best to explain to you guys what is going on here. So we started with an A1 from the Man-Eater number 1, A1 from the Man-Eater number 2, then we get hit. Then I do believe we go into an A3 from Farrakhan the Fat. For this skill right here, we get the allies join attack. Then we're gonna skip, I believe, the counter attack right here, because we're gonna wait until turn count number 3 to set up the counter attack properly. Remember, Martyr here is at 173 speed, so she's technically in tune with the clan boss. So I do think we're gonna go with the A1 here, if I'm not mistaken. I think we were having a few little issues with the screen share. There we go, we got the A1. Then we get a 2 from Torvald, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna see that in a second. Nope, it's an A1. I apologize. Again, I know nothing about setting this up, so just literally pay attention to what's going on the screen. Then we go Unkillable with Man-Eater number 1. On the Man-Eater number 2, we do the A2. We take another hit from the clan boss. Then we're back to our Farrakhan the Fat, which is at 175 speed, so he's also relatively in tune with the clan boss. A2 from him. Now we're on Martyr again. We're probably going to skip the counter attack. We're gonna go for the A3 for decrease attack, although it doesn't really matter in this case. We're unkillable, we don't really need decrease attack. Hey, this is the fastest Man-Eater now. I think we're gonna go for his A2 if I'm not mistaken. A2 it is. Then we're gonna go for Torvald's turn, which is gonna go into his A3. We're still skipping his A2, all right? So we haven't set up his extra turn so far. A1 from the slow Man-Eater. Then we take a hit. It goes on 1 Man-Eater right there. There is, I believe, in the beginning, a part where we're not going to be unkillable and we could die. So that's important to understand, that you need to be tough enough to survive that. We get Farrakhan with his A1 right there. A1 from the fastest Man-Eater. Then we're going to go into counterattack from the Martyr, if I am not mistaken, right there. Yup. Then we're going to go into Unkillable or the A1. I'm not sure. It looks like it's the A1 for the slow Man-Eater at 216 speed. At this point, we're back to Torvald, and I think this is where he takes the extra turn, right? We get an extra turn. No, okay, we go A1 again. I'm sorry. Again, I have No clue what I was doing there. So then we take an AoE from the clan boss. We counterattack. Boom, boom, boom. More counterattack right there. And right now it looks like we're under like our 1 million per turn in terms of damage, but it's going to get a little bit better. So we had Maneater go right there. Now we're back to Farrakhan. We only had the choice of the A1. Now we're on the slow Maneater at 216 speed. We're going to go Unkillable right there. Back to Martyr, obviously an A1. Don't really have a choice. Then we're going to go back to, we're taking a hit, sorry, so we're going to counterattack. All right, counterattack right there, counterattack again, and now we're on Turvold's turn. When are we taking an extra turn? I really don't remember. All right, back to Maneater, or the fastest Maneater. Again, at some point he takes 2 turns in 1 turn of the clan boss. Here we're on the slow Maneater now. We're probably going to do A2. Yep, A2 it is. Then we're back to Farrakhan here, which I believe he's always going to prioritize the A3 anyway. So when it's up, I do believe that is what we do. Exactly, right there, we get that. And also, to come back to Longbeard, we do get 20% more damage when we use Longbeard, but with Farrakhan, you do get the increase, what is it, crit damage, if I recall correctly. So it's hard to determine which one would actually be best in the long run. So if you guys do manage to test it out, let us know, please, in the comments below. We would love to know how exactly he would compare to Farrakhan the Fat. Now we're back to Turvold. What are we doing with this guy here again? It looks like it's finally the A2 on turn count number 6. There we go. Then we do the A3. Bam. All right. And I think then we're going Unkillable after he's done his extra turn. And I think this is where we hit auto. There you go. Okay. So now apparently it's all set up. Again, I had no clue what I was doing, so pay attention to what happened there on the screen if you want to replicate this on your account. So a Paranoid here knows best. I didn't know much about it. All right, so let's fast forward to the end now. There's no point in watching the entire thing because it is going to be literally this for the rest of the fight. Now, do pay attention to our damage going up in terms of damage per turn to a point where we're going to reach a very respectable total amount of damage. We're just clearing the 1 key for now. So like we said before, there is a lot of room for improvement. If you guys figure something out extra, also let us know about that in the comments below so that we can all benefit from the overall, you know, community knowledge. So whoever came up with this build, huge shout out to you, sir. If you have a name for this, do let us know in the comments below as well. I think it would be great to give it a name. And on that note, I think I will let you guys go. I hope you've learned something. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later.